show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
Here we go. Andre and I have already been arguing about the game. We've only been sitting here for 4 or 5 minutes already. So,
Who else is he going to do that to?
Who? Denard Robinson?
Denard Robinson.
No, I don't know. You got a team that's bad against the run. And you got how many guys that weren't starters on the defensive line yesterday?
You had a lot of guys that weren't starters that started on the defensive line. You had a guy that was just called up from the practice squad.
Yeah.
I'll give you all that. Let's get to Tim Couch, and we'll get to our own disagreements.
All right. Well, anyways, first let me welcome you into Dogs on the Run. If this is your first time participating, congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you. We're glad that you're here this morning. We're glad that you're awake. 216-431-3820. That is the number to call in, or you can Skype in at Dogs on the Run. Clearly, we'll be talking about yesterday's Browns game. We'll also look ahead to Oakland. We've got a phenomenal show for you, as always, because Eric, the referee, gets things moving. Eric, the referee, tell us what's coming up on the show.
We got Tim Couch standing by, ready to dissect Brian Hoyer's play. I'm sure that's going to be interesting. Kenny Rhoda standing by.
Please say it with more enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I know. Matt Lodi from the Steelers. They play tonight. Hopefully we can get some enjoyment out of them losing. We got a Browns backer president coming up from Palm Bay, Florida. And much more heading your way in the next hour and a half.
Wow, good stuff. And you've implemented some new segments in the show, at least one, right?
Yes, it's going to be create a caption. We're going to have two pictures, still pictures, and you guys are going to create your own caption to the photo.
All right, and we'll let people play along with that as well. They can do that on Twitter, Facebook, whatever means of information you need. All right, Andre, I'm excited to talk to you.
I'm excited to talk to you.
I got to be honest with you, I'm more excited to talk to Tim Couch. So let's bring in Tim Couch. Tim has vowed not to shave until the Browns win again. Is that true?
That's true. It may be a while.
Tim, don't get caught up in that type of stuff, brother.
All right, Tim, your initial thoughts on yesterday's Browns game.
Yeah, it was just tough to watch all the way around. Offensively, just a struggle. Once again on the road. I don't know what it is about this team playing on the road, but they just can't get it going. You kept waiting for them to get it turned around because you know this team starts slow and they always find a way to get it going. The offense gets in rhythm, and Brian normally gets hot and they start making some plays. But yesterday was just a struggle. I think they obviously missed Alex Mack on the offensive line. That whole switch up on the offensive line really changed things up. They couldn't get the running game going. Going against a really, really good, front seven for Jacksonville, though, that's the last thing you want to see when you're without your Pro Bowl center. But, they were in Brian's face all day. They batted down, I think, 4 balls at the line of scrimmage. He didn't have the run game support to help him out, and he couldn't get the play-action passing game going because of that. So just a struggle all the way around. I thought, the coaching was poor. I thought the game plan was poor, and the execution of the game plans were poor.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Tim. As a quarterback, talk about the frustration of a game plan not working. You know what I mean? You're looking for something. You mentioned the word rhythm. There was never a rhythm for the Browns offense yesterday, and you talk about all the things that complement it. But as a quarterback, just take us in the mindset where you get out of halftime and you're going, okay, guys, we got to get something going.
Right.
Is that a time where you look at the offensive coaching staff and say, hey, guys, what's plan B?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a struggle because you come into the game and obviously the Browns have been able to run the ball so well all season long, and you come in and you rely on that and you're counting on that and you build your whole entire game plan around the fact that you're going to be able to run the football and you're going to get big plays off of play action, and then it doesn't happen for you, and it kind of changes things up, and it's hard to switch that up on the run. And then when you try to start throwing the ball and you really don't have time, Brian really couldn't find any throwing lanes to step up into. There was pressure right up the middle in his face quite a bit in this game, and he just looked rattled to me. And for the first time all season long, he couldn't get into that rhythm. He couldn't find it. His mechanics were off. His throws were highly inaccurate, and the receivers were dropping balls left and right. Even when Brian was putting it on the money, they were dropping balls, which is something they haven't done all year. These guys have been making great catches, sure-handed guys all year long. But yesterday was just, no one could get on the same page, from the quarterbacks to the running backs to the wide receivers, and then, the offensive line struggled as well.
Tim, Andre and I are going to debate this later because I know we have opposing views on this. But when it comes to John Greco, I don't think it's fair to assume that this guy is going to be at the same level, and I'm sure we agree on this.
No, we agree on
but to assume that he's going to be at the same level as Alex Mack, I just wonder, if it was you, would you rather have a guy that was maybe on a practice squad somewhere else that had big-time college experience, knowing how to be a center, snap the ball, and block, compared to trying to move a guy over that has never snapped the ball ever in his life?
But knows your offense,
but
knows your
scheme,
scheme, knows how you do audibles and everything else. So that's
Right.
what we're forgetting about.
No,
He
I
brings somebody
understand
in
that.
here,
I understand
he
that.
doesn't know all those other things, and that set you back too.
Well, then you got to simplify the offense for him. I get that, and I understand what you're saying. What do you think of that?
That's a tough one, guys. It really is. You can go either way on that. There's pros and cons to both of those. I would prefer to have a guy who at least knows my system just a little bit, a guy who's been there, even if he hasn't played the position, very much at all. But at least he's been there in camp. He's been in the meetings, in the offensive line meeting room, and he understands what Alex is doing. He's watched Alex, and he's watched him make protection calls at the line of scrimmage. He's watched him get in audibles and get in and out of audibles, those type of things. Just to have him around those guys, I think would be something that I would want. Just the familiarity with the offense and the scheme and Brian and all that kind of stuff. I think would probably be the route that I would go.
All right, Tim, how quick can you shake this loss off? I think you go back and you go, we're 3-3, let's reset, and then we got to focus on. How long does it take to snap into Oakland mode?
Well, I think you can shake it off pretty quick. I really do. You're coming back home to play, and it's been such a positive season so far. And this is really, just the first game of the season that it really just nothing went right for coaches, players, anyone. So I think you just shake it off. It's part of the game. It's a long season in the NFL, as we all know, and you're going to have these type of games. It's just obviously you don't want it to happen when you're playing a winless team on the road, a game you should win. But it happened. You got to put it behind you, and I think they will. This team has some good leadership on both sides of the football, and I don't think they have a choice. They have to put it behind them quick and get going and get ready for Oakland.
Tim, you've been in locker rooms where teams were struggling to get victories, and I think for fans, we look at records and we instantly go, "How does this team beat this team?" Not just talking about the Browns, but you know what I mean. Can you explain to people that no matter what your record is, when you're in the NFL, you go out on that field and you think you can beat the opponent. Jacksonville didn't walk out there yesterday and said, they were like, this is a great opportunity for us to get a victory today. The Raiders are going to be the same way on Sunday, correct?
No question. And, the NFL, I've been on some teams, obviously those expansion teams that I was on, and we were trying to work from the ground up. We didn't have any business winning any games that we were in, but we felt like we were going to win every time we took the field. And that's an honest statement. In the NFL, you feel like you're just as good as the next guy, no matter if you're a good team or a bad team. It's so different than college. In college, you can look at it on paper and say, oh, well, Ohio State or whoever, they're playing this team or that team from another conference. They're obviously going to crush these guys. But in the NFL, it's so different because, any day you go out there, a quarterback on the other team can get hot. Like a Denard Robinson yesterday in the backfield, that was a surprise. The guy had only had a season high or career high 28 yards rushing, goes for well over 100 in that game. You just never know who's going to get hot from the other team, and you can't stop it. And, it's kind of the way it went for the Browns yesterday. But it's, it really is, the old cliche, any given Sunday, you play any team that, no matter, what your record says or what it says on paper, they can absolutely show up and beat you.
Yeah. All right, Tim, we'll talk to you. Hopefully you'll shave before we come back. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't count on it.
All right, Tim, we'll talk to you in a little bit. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Tim Couch breaking it down like nobody else. Let me talk about a couple things that you brought up there. First of all, this is one of the reasons why I don't have problems with teams celebrating the locker room after a win.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not, they're special. They really are. And if you're a Browns fan, you really should understand that, how special a win is. Yes. And so I don't have any problem. The only problem I had a couple weeks ago was I don't know that it's my place to see these guys celebrating. I know that they do it all the time, and I get it, blah, 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 blah. But I think that's part of being on a team and understanding what happens in your own little men's club there.
Yeah, when we're dealing with the team that's learning on the run. Let's be honest. I know we don't want to hear that, but they're learning who they are. I think Mike Pettin let's go with the coaching staff.
Okay.
I think a veteran, grizzled coaching staff would probably said, "Hey, Phil Taylor, get that off a social network.
Right.
Let's keep this amongst ourselves."
Right.
I like this coaching staff. I'm not sitting here, and I know over the next hour and a half it's going to come off as we're not crazy about I may come off as, but that's not the case. They had a bad day yesterday, but I think you have this young coaching staff. They come from different places. They have different attitudes. And I think they're still learning who they want to be as coaches. I think Mike Pettin will go into the office today, and he'll say, okay, what did I do last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, leading up to us going to Jacksonville that didn't jive with us on the field yesterday?
But, it's right? Go back and listen to what Mike Pettin said last week.
He was good.
He told you pretty much everything that could happen, and he was very cautious. The one thing that I'll say about Mike yesterday was, and we can, again, this is Monday morning quarterbacking at its finest. If the Browns make that first down and end up scoring a touchdown rather than going up 9-0 or giving the ball back over, and then all of a sudden it's 7-6, everyone's, Mike Pettin's a genius. He's the smartest coach ever. I think in the future, and this is a rookie, and a rookie will say, you know what, we're playing a team that hasn't won yet. let's remind them. We're going to go up 9-0. We're going to be up 2 scores. That's the only, really, of all the plays yesterday. And in some ways, I'm not mad at Mike Pettin for going for it on 4th down. He has been that way all season.
He has. But are you mad at him for doing it the second time? Because here's my problem. Because you're right. Most of us sit around and we like an aggressive head coach.
Right.
We like a coach that says, the heck with it, we're going for it on 4th down. I don't have a problem with that 90% of the time, Andy. I don't. I'm going to admit that. I wasn't one of those fans yesterday going, oh, my God, what are they doing? Because that's what, like you said, they've been aggressive. My problem comes with, if you're going to be aggressive, have play calls that fit what the situation is. Have play calls that don't look like you were a high school team that didn't practice all week, the 4th and 1 plays. Their 2 4th down plays were so horrible that you go, wait a minute, just keep it simple, stupid. Kick the field goal.
Right.
Because the one, and like you said, this is Monday morning quarterbacking at its finest. They kick that field goal, they go up 9. The only reason I felt this way, and I'll admit it, and that doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. I'm not sitting here, I'm not one of those. The only reason I was saying kick the field goal at the beginning, it would have made it a 2-possession game. Jacksonville had problems moving the football throughout the afternoon, and you just didn't want to give them anything. And I thought that gave them some emotion that got them going. You said it last night perfectly on our Ford Sports Sunday show. A week before, the Browns came out slow again. The Steelers bobble that field goal or whatever. Momentum changed, and Pittsburgh never was able to get it. Same thing kind of happened yesterday against the Browns. They lost their momentum and never got it back.
Eric, the referee.
Yes.
Yeah, did you need something? Yeah, I saw you waving your arms over.
Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, how much responsibility do you guys put on Mike Pettin for that second 4th down call? I mean,
is that the one where they ran off the field and ran back on?
Yes. I mean, obviously, Hoyer said after the game that the ball was not supposed to be snapped.
Right.
4th and 5, they're not going to run an option to the right. It was obviously a play call that no one
it wasn't a play call.
I mean, and Greco should not have snapped the ball. But do you blame Pettin for a little bit of that because of that miscommunication between?
Well, here's the one thing, though. Okay, so if you know, and we'll come back. Listen, if it's clear to Brian Hoyer that there's a guy on the other side of the line and that they've got the penalty, I'm still a little leery on why the referee stood and held up the play as long as he did.
I think
because you could see that Jacksonville was completely befuddled at that point. They ended up with 10 guys on the field on that play. At some point, there's got to be a goose that says, all right, we got him, and I know we got this, and you got to snap the ball because we know it's going to happen.
Let me say,
and the play never would have happened anyways because it would have been a neutral zone infraction.
Quit trying to be so darn cute, though.
Oh, how about that?
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah,
because you're right. Jacksonville seemed displaced. The referees seemed displaced. The Browns seemed displaced. But it all goes back to quit trying to be cute and either run a play like every other team or kick a punt like every other team. Because this reminded me, and this goes back to the coaching staff, and this is going to be a negative. This reminds me of the Johnny Manziel play. It's great that you have all these tricks up your sleeve, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't implement them the correct way. You end up looking like a minor league, bush league team because it didn't look – because when you go, well, we didn't have a play called. Well, you had guys running in and off the field. The referees were so off, they were like slowing the game down because they're going, what are you doing? Are you punting? Are you going for it? That's just one of those – that doesn't come off as a professionally coached team.
I wonder that. Is that legal? Can the referees do that, like stand
Hold
in
the
the
play
middle?
up?
Well,
yeah, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. I think for the referee, there are substitution rules, and I'm not going to sit here. I'm not a guru.
Like quarterback can't enter the huddle.
Right. There's only so many men you can have on the field at a certain amount of time and huddled. And the Browns were on the brink of getting penalized, is what I would say, because you can't have 11 guys here and 11 more coming on and off. I think that's why the referees are going, wait a minute. If you want to fake it, fake it. But
Well,
you can't have 20
isn't this
guys
one of
on
those
the field.
situations where you go up to the referee before the game and you say, look, I'm going to tell you this, and the referee's not going to tell the other team.
No.
He's going to say, look, I want to make sure that when we do this, that it's legal, or at least have your referee who's in-house
understanding it
and say this is right.
And we can go back a couple Super Bowls ago when Saints were there. Remember, they were going to onside kick.
Right.
And Sean Payton went to one of the referees and goes, hey, we've got this play, and we're going to use it at some point in time. The refs aren't going to say anything, but it helps them prepare to know, okay, this is the Saints setup when they're going to go for it. The Browns have to do that because, as I said, it's great you got all these tricks up your sleeve. It means very little if you can't produce them when the time comes.
All right, let's bring